الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم إنا نسألك بنور وجهك الذي أضاءت له الظلمات وصلح عليه أمر الدنيا والآخرة أن تبارك لنا في مجلسنا هذا.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. The Sheikh is making a dua. Please say Amin. Amin. We talked last time about insurance, and it was because of the flood that we had here in Texas and some other areas like Florida and other places. We have talked that insurance, some of it is permissible, some is forbidden, some within the best effort of the scholars where it is allowed. And we said the commercial insurance that is forbidden with some exceptions in its applications. And we talked about some of these exceptions is the insurance that is forced, like by the law, where it is obligatory in every car holder to have insurance. Then it is permissible to have insurance. You cannot ride a car without insurance. So no matter how bad that contract is Islamically, still you have to have that. And we also talked about the insurance that is part of another contract, like you bought an appliance and it has insurance to come with a warranty, or whenever you rent a car, they might bring an insurance, even though it's money you have to pay. It is permissible because it is part as because it's part of a deal, not as independent. And also the insurance whenever there is a severe necessity, publicly or individually, like the health insurance. No one in this country can live without health insurance. And also the other examples, the insurance on the schools, Islamic schools, especially in areas where the weather is very bad, like ice, snow, and some of the students might fall or slip, or some accidents. The, the probability of an accident is very high. All of these are permissible. Inshallah, today we're going to talk about different type of insurance, and I hope that you'll be happy with and that you'll be understanding, inshallah. It is an insurance that all agreed on, all in acceptance. It is in the obedience of Allah. This is the Allah's insurance, and there's four types. Two for your insurance in this life, and two in the hereafter, when you meet Allah and the hereafter. Listen to this hadith. Or first, let's start with this ayah where Allah said, أعوذ بالله السميع من الشيطان الرجيم, let them fear those who, if they left behind an offspring who are weak, they were afraid for their future. Let them fear Allah and let them say the good talk. Allah said, let those who fear to leave behind offspring that are weak, let them fear Allah and let them say something that is right. We listen to the Quran in Surah Al-Kahf, and their father was a righteous person in the people of Al-Kahf, and our forefathers, they were very careful about this meaning. So Sayyid ibn Musayyib, may Allah bless his soul, he used to tell his son, I pray and I remember you, my son, I increase in my prayer. So he could increase making dua for you. May Allah have mercy on you. I read in the Quran, and their father was a righteous person. And one of the righteous people, he says to say, oh my son, I used to make a lot of prayers for you, for your sake. And also Al-Hafidh ibn Kathir, he, in explanation of their father was a righteous person, and Allah wants the two kids to, or the two orphans, to reach their strength and to get their treasure. So he sent a righteous person or two messengers, whether Al-Khadr was a righteous person or a messenger with Musa, so they could put this wall to rebuild it to protect their treasure that Allah has preserved for them. Al-Hafidh ibn Kathir says that it has an evidence that the righteous person is protected in his offsprings, and the blessing of his prayers, and they reach it in this life and in the hereafter because of its intercession, and Allah raised him in the best place in Jannah, so that righteous person will be happy, because Allah said, for those who believe and their offspring followed them, we let them follow him and did not leave any of their deeds. Every person with their work, they will be rewarded. So the worldly material wealth is not enough unless it has the blessing of Allah. So there's a story that the scholars always talk about, that the scholar Abu Bakr ibn Yaqub ibn Shayba, and he is and he's the one who's talking about himself. When he was born, his father went to his mother, and he was a very rich person, and he said, if you lived this long in days, I want to prepare for each day 1 dinar for each day of his life. So he got like a barrel, and every day he put 1 dinar with the expectation that this boy will live. And he said, make another barrel, I will make it another one like it. And Abu Bakr ibn Yaqub said, and none of that benefit me with the tribulation of life, and you could see what I need. And the scholars, they say, we have seen him poor. He comes up without clothes, with simple clothes. Oh, and we used to give him a charity of some clothes. This is a person that his father and his mother prepared to him a barrel of gold for each day that he lives. He did not that money did not benefit to him. So the point is, the money itself is not enough. It's not good for the future. Remember the insurance of Allah, that you have to fear Allah. Allah is the one who's saying that. Let them fear Allah and let them say something good. Let's talk about the Allah's insurance as it came in the Sunnah, whether it's something for this life or in the hereafter. The first one, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, whomever prayed Fajr, he is in the protection of Allah. And another narration, whomever prayed Fajr in group, he's in the protection of Allah. This Fajr prayer in group, in congregation, it is an insurance for you for the rest of the day. Whomever prayed Fajr, he is in the protection of Allah. Allah don't ask you with anything, and whomever he will get, and then he will throw him in the hellfire. the Imam Nawawi, in explaining Sahih Muslim, he said the protection, the insurance, and the safety. Why Allah mentioned the Fajr? Because of the hardship that's in it. To get out, to get up, and to go out of your house, out of your norm, to fight your laziness, and doing it, it's a proof of his faith. And whomever is pure, faithful, he is in the protection of Allah. So when the Prophet ﷺ said, whomever prayed Fajr, he's in the protection of Allah, what does that mean? The scholar said, the first one, that not to cause harm to any Muslim who prayed Fajr, because he is in Allah's protection, and no one can bring any harm to them, that Allah has protected him. Because whomever did, then he has broken Allah's protection, and Allah will throw him in the hell fire. The Arabs understood the protection. The Prophet ﷺ, when he came back from protection and entered the protection of Mut'ab ibn Adi, he told his sons to go with their weapons. And he went to Kaaba and he said, "Oh Quraysh, I gave protection to Muhammad. You are the man that no one can break your protection." So how about the protection of Allah the Almighty, and who try to dare to break the protection of Allah? So whomever prayed Fajr, he's in the protection of Allah, and anyone who dares to break Allah's protection on that person, Allah will get, and that reach that person, Allah will punish the person who did that with the hellfire. The other meaning, the scholar said, it's a warning from leaving Al-Fajr in congregation, because it is the covenant between the person and Allah. It is the contract to Allah. Whomever leaves it, he has committed kufr. So not praying Fajr, it is it's a violation to the contract with Allah, with the covenant with Allah. And in this hadith, you have to respect the Muslims and respect them for those who prayed Fajr. Only a believer prays Al-Fajr in congregation. And also what Tabarani said in his book, that it is, he said that Salim ibn Abdullah ibn Umar, he's sitting with Al-Hajjaj, and Hajjaj told him, "Go and kill this person." So Salim took the sword and took the man to the palace, and his father looked at him, and he is taking that man. When Sam took him out, "Did you pray Fajr?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Then take any way out you want." And he took the sword. He said, Hajjaj asked him, "Did you kill him?" He said, "No." He said, "I heard my father here that the Prophet ﷺ said, whomever prayed Fajr, he is in the protection of Allah." Because he said, "I heard my father saying, whomever prayed Fajr, he is in the protection of Allah until night time." And this is more stress if you prayed Fajr in congregation, of course. In some of the narration of this hadith, whomever prayed Fajr al-Jama'ah is in the protection of Allah the Almighty. And also the congregation that is talked about here, it is the people in the masjid. This is very important. The congregation that is observed with the reward, it is the one in the masjid, and any other group. Like don't pray in a group in the house or somewhere else. In Sahih Muslim, in the hadith of Uthman, may Allah be pleased with him, he said, the Prophet ﷺ said, whomever prayed Isha in congregation as if he has prayed half of the night, and whomever prayed congregation Fajr in congregation, he as if have prayed the whole night. So if you can't pray the whole night, pray Fajr and Isha with congregation as if you have prayed the whole night, because you're concerned about praying in congregation, in group. Again, whoever prayed Isha in congregation as if he had prayed the whole night, half night, and whomever prayed Fajr in congregation as if he had prayed the whole night. And also the hadith of Abu Hurairah, that the Prophet ﷺ said, if they know what's in the darkness, making the prayer of Isha and Fajr, they will come to them even if they're crawling. This is the first hadith, or part series of hadith. The other one, the insurance from sudden calamities. Whomever said when he go to the night, in the name of Allah, there is nothing harm in the heavens or earth, and He is the hearer and knowledgeable, 3 times, nothing will have harm until Fajr. If you say it 3 times. And if he said it 3 times in the morning, nothing will harm him until night time. And also the hadith of Uthman ibn Affan. And Aban ibn Uthman said from his father, and the one who heard the hadith, look at him. Didn't he say, if you say someone said this, he will not have harm until night, nothing sudden harm. So what happened to you? Where did you get this sickness? If you narrated this hadith, you must be among those who practice it. He said, by Allah, I did not lie on Uthman, and Uthman did not lie on behalf of the Prophet ﷺ. By Allah, but today, the one I was sick, I was angry, so I forgot to say it, so Allah will bestow His decree on me. That he got mad at that day, he forgot to make that recitation of dua, and then he was harmed or he was sick. So no servant who say every day and night, in the name of Allah, there is nothing harm in the heavens or earth, and He is the all hearer and knowledgeable, 3 times, nothing will harm him. And this is in the Sahih of the Abu Dawud. So we need to be concerned about saying this hadith, this dua. Of course, you have to say it in Arabic. And first, you have to say it in Jama'ah. It is hard except for those who concentrate. You just say that when you wake up and when you at night, in the name of Bismillah, like the Sheikh saying, in the name of Allah, there is nothing harm in His name in the heavens or earth, and He is all hearer and knowledgeable. He said 3 times, 3 times in the morning after Fajr, 3 times after Maghrib. Nothing will have a sudden harm or anything of that sort. And the Qurtubi says about this hadith, it is a new, a true news, and we have tried it. From the time I heard it, I worked with it, and nothing harmed me, unless I forget to say that recitation. And I forgot scorpion bit me, then I remember that I forgot to ask Allah's protection with these words. Ameen. Also, in that, there's another hadith, and we learned in our uh, young age, our parents used to teach us two hadith at the same time. A man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, "Oh, Prophet of Allah, I haven't seen a scorpion hit me. If you see me going in pain because of scorpion that hit me yesterday." And the Prophet said, "If you said before when you slept or at night, I seek refuge from Allah's words that completed from everything He has created, from any evil that He has created. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق." So there's two statements. You have to learn them, and they will give you full protection from anything. If you say them 3 times in the Fajr and 3 times at night, and you'll be like a person who is wearing some guards against to help you. Don't try Allah Azza wa Jal. Say it knowing certain that Allah will protect you. So if you said that at night, أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق, it will not harm you. That scorpion will not harm you. And at-Tirmidhi said from Suhail ibn Abi Salih, one of the narrators of this hadith, he said, our families learned it, they used to say it every night. So one of the mates, they got bitten by a scorpion and she did not have any pain. Now let's talk, this is something in this life. Now let's talk about in the hereafter. What did Allah have for us as an insurance for the hereafter? In the hadith, the true hadith or authentic hadith as narrated by Albani or compiled by the Albani, whoever recited Ayatul Kursi after each prayers, obligated prayers, nothing will stop him from entering Jannah except death. Whomever recited Al-Kursi, Ayatul Kursi after every obligatory prayer, nothing will stop from entering Jannah except death. Ibn al-Qayyim said that this hadith was narrated from Abi Umama and Abi Talib and Abdullah ibn Umar, Al-Mughir ibn Shu'ba and Jabir ibn Abdullah and Anas ibn Malik. And these all have weakness, but if you combine all of them, then you will see that it is an authentic hadith. And it said Ibn Abbas ibn Taymiyyah that he prayed duha, and he said, I never left saying that after each prayers, meaning to recite Ayatul Kursi. So it is recommended after the prayers you recite Ayatul Kursi and hoping to enter Jannah if you stay from the big sins. Because the 5 prayers and Jum'ah to Jum'ah and Ramadan to Ramadan, they forgive what's in between them as long as the big sins are avoided. So Al-Ayatul Kursi, hopeful that it will be added to this. Also, listen to this hadith. When you recite Sayyid al-Istighfar, the master of Istighfar, the Sheikh is reciting that one. The Sheikh has recited the master of Istighfar. Whomever said it at day believing in it and he died before night time, he's among the people of paradise. And if you said it at night and certain of it, and you die before Fajr, you will be among the people of Jannah. You have to have the sincere intention of repenting asking Allah's forgiveness. Let's talk about this the words of this hadith. Oh Allah, you are my Lord, and there is no one but you. You created me. You have admitted that Allah's bounty, that He made you out of nothing, and I'm your servant, and you but humble yourself toward Allah and submit to His worship of Him. And I am on your covenant. I have made my commitment to stay on the straight path, believing in your promise, and I've done my best in what you have and your promise. I'm in your covenant and your promise as I can. I seek your refuge from what I have done, what my soul asked me to do. I ask your refuge from what I have done, and I admit your bounty on me. Allah's bounty cannot be counted. A man, he could not urinate, and they did take the urination through side catheter, and one day he started crying. He said, "Why are you crying? You should be okay. The urination came out." He said, "Oh my son, 70 years Allah gave me this free. I did not remember this bounty on Him, and the doctor who took a lot of money from me to do the surgery, I was very appreciative of, and Allah gave me this freely for 70 years. I have never admit this bounty. When He took it from me and a doctor helped me, we all appreciated what the doctor did, and we were very grateful, and he's been paid for, but Allah, the one who gave it to her free, we did not do Him right in thanking Him for that one gift." Indeed, we are decepted in this life with these things that's around us in this world. We forgot to thank Allah on all the small things that we take for granted. So again, back to the hadith. I admit your bounty on me, and I admit my mistake. I admit my fault. I admit what I did wrong. I admit my sin. Because Allah said, if those who believe in you, tell them greeting to you or peace on you, Allah, whomever made wrong and he repented and did good, Allah is forgiven and merciful. So in that dua, you admit to your bounty of Allah, you admit the mistake, and then you ask Allah, you ask Allah's repentance, you ask Allah's pardon, forgiveness. You have to say this hadith once every morning and one at night. What harm, why you want to rush in your life when you can spend few minutes to have that big insurance, a protection for this life and in the hereafter? Won't take 1 minute to do all these dua. And then you get the glad tidings from the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith. Whomever said in the day living in it and he died, and that day before night he is among people of Jannah. And whoever said it at night, believing in it, and he died before Fajr, then he's among the people of Jannah. So we talked about Fajr prayer, that it has to be in congregation. We talked about to protect yourself when you wake up in the name of Allah. There's nothing harm in the heavens and earth, and He is all hearer. Or ask Allah's refuge from His completed words, from everything as created, or the evil of what He created. So you have to keep these remembrance of Allah. and to recite Ayat al-Kursi after each prayers, and to maintain the Sayyid of Istighfar. Wallah, your and the Sheikh recited it at the end of the dua. Al-Khattabi says, when he is explaining, when I'm on your covenant and you promise, I'm on everything I promise you, from believing in you. I'm doing everything I can. I am stood on your promise, on your covenant with you. And here you ask Allah's forgiveness for everything you fell short in performing toward Allah Azza wa Jal. In this hadith there is beautiful meaning, that it deserves to be the master of asking pardon, because you admit Allah's oneness and that He's the creator, and the bounty of Allah and the covenant of Allah and the hope of what He has promised, and ask Allah's protection from what He has committed, and to bring the sin on yourself and hoping of Allah's forgiveness, and all of this to compile the Sharia. And after that there's a dua. It did not come in a sin. In a hadith that Imam Ahmad narrated, he said, I was in the presence of Ibn Umar, and when I left, he said, I heard the Prophet ﷺ saying that Luqman al-Hakim said that Allah, if he was given trust on something, he will protect it. And I ask Allah's trust in your religion, and like if you put something with Allah, Allah will protect. And I believe with Allah your religion, in your deed and the end of your deeds. And also the hadith that Prophet ﷺ, whenever he said goodbye to someone, he will ask Allah's trust on the person and the family that he leaves behind, and the wealth that he have. The religion, it is part of protection, because in the travel, when you travel, there is a lot of hardship. Sometimes you will feel shy of doing what your duties toward Allah. So he asking Allah protection in the religion, mean to fulfill it, to do what is obligated on you. And Allah says that He have protectors from around Him, protect Him from Allah's order. There's angels who protect Him from His hands and His behind Him. So if anything come to harm Him, they will protect Him with the permission of Allah. Another hadith that every person that he have an angel who protect him in his sleep, and protect from the jinn, from himself, and nothing he wants, then angel say behind you, except something that Allah allows it, then it will hit you. There's a lot of things in the Quran Sunnah of adhkar that protect you, that gives you guarantees from Allah, that if you use it and believe it and practice it and done it in the morning and it is at night, he is in the protection of Allah. Remember, I will conclude with this. Yahya, the son of Zakaria, when Allah asked him with 5 things to do and to order the sons of Israel to do it, one of those, the 4th or the 5th, the 4th one, I ordered you to remember of Allah. The example or the barrel of remember Allah is like a person that the enemy is behind him running, and he's running and the enemy is behind him. Then he comes to a castle and he protected himself from his enemies, and this is the servant. He protect himself from the shaitan with the remembrance of Allah. May Allah make us among those who remember Allah at all times. Oh Allah, help us on your mercy and prayers. The Sheikh making dua, inshallah. Amin. Assalamu alaikum.
عندنا ملابس حق هذا ملابس رجاليه نسائيه بس قل لي وين احط الملابس رجاليه نسائيه وين؟